Everyone, good to have you here today for the quarterly meeting of the Cannon County Board of Commissioners. And if everyone will stand at this time, we're going to have a prayer, and then Michael Underhill is going to lead us in a pledge to the flag. Let's all pray together. Dear God in heaven, we're so thankful for this beautiful day. We're thankful that we are privileged to live in a country where we can choose our own occupations, we can choose where we'd like to live, we can choose our leaders. We pray that you'd be with this Board of Commissioners today, help them to lead with wisdom and do those things that are within their authority. We pray, Heavenly Father, that you'd be with our nation, especially those soldiers that are protecting our freedoms in foreign lands. We pray that you'd be with them and bring them home safely to their families. We pray that you'd continue to be with our country. This prayer make in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we've got time for the roll call, Bob. Present. Here. Here.
Jim Bush,
Here.
Kevin George,
Here.
Glenn Higgins, Tony Neal, Jim Jones,
Here.
Chuck Holt,
Here.
All right.
7 present,
7 present. Number 4 on our agenda, read and approve the minutes of the last meeting. Everybody received them. Do I hear a motion to approve them?
Motion to approve.
Made by Jim Jones and seconded by Jim Bush. All in favor, let me know by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. All right, next on our agenda, we have the reports of the county officials, and I'm going to use that section right there to have a report from Dale Peterson. Dale Peterson has been heading up our 4th of July celebration for a few years, and he always brings us a report after that. And he has some copies. Let's see, Jim, here, pass this down to Jim Jones.
Thank you. Wanted to report that we in fact had a fireworks show. Some of you may have noticed. Some of you slept through it. It started about 6 p.m. with music and hot dogs. We also gave away chips. Had 640 hot dogs this year, over 500 bags of chips, and approximately 1,292 drinks between sodas and water. The hot dogs ran out approximately in 45 minutes. The drinks didn't last much longer after that. We're estimating that we had between 600 and 800 people in the park, and around town, based on reports, we probably had over 1,500 people to watch the fireworks show. In addition to that, it's been our policy that the show is free to the public, the food and drinks are free to the public. What we did do this year is that a booth was set up that sold lemonade, and the proceeds of that went to Military Children, which basically is a nonprofit group to help families of wounded and soldiers killed. Additionally, what we do is we request people to bring food bank to the Cannon County Food Bank. They received over 500 pounds of food and $65 in cash donations, which is the best they've done. As far as accounting wise, Town of Woodbury donated $2,620 to the show. Auburn Town $1,310, and Cannon County $2,620 for a total of $6,550. In addition, we had 17 businesses donate cash in amount of $1,571. So the total that we brought in was $8,121 cash for this year's show. We spent $3,357.16 on fireworks and permits through the show. The music and sound system was $1,050. We spent $250 on advertising. In addition, the hot dogs and drinks that We had to buy the hot dogs, which was $645.53 with the buns, and the entertainment was $650. And the entertainment is the bouncy things that we have out there for the kids. Those are real popular. We had some volunteers man those, and if you've never done one of the bouncy things, the hardest thing to do is to shut those things down, because there's always kids that are wanting to get on it, and we have to shut it down sometime. So they got to live through that. So we spent $5,952.69. We had no capital improvements this year, although I am going to be putting up a permanent fence around the park so that I don't have to pound fence posts every year and then get them back up. That's not as much fun as one might think. In fact, that's one of the reasons I went to law school, so that I wouldn't have to be a farmer. So our balance was $1,168.31. In addition, we had 6 businesses that donated $1,168.31 in goods and items, and most of that was the drinks from Rite Aid. Rite Aid gave us water. Piggly Wiggly gave us 250 drinks, and Dollar General Market gave us another 250 drinks plus 500 some chips. Shirt Shack donated all the signs that you see around the park that people ignore to stay out, and so I was real pleased with that. So the total business donations for the cash and for the goods was $2,134.90. The balance of cash we had in hand on January 1st was $12,468.49. The balance of cash on hand as of 7/7 was $14,636.80. In addition, I'm expecting another $400 to $500 worth of donations to come in through the mail in the next couple of weeks. The funds are being kept in a separate balance, not a separate checking account, but a separate balance in the town of Woodbury. So if y'all have any questions.
So you're saying the keep out signs need to be redesigned?
No, they're working for the majority. It's just some people seem to choose to ignore them. They do just to annoy me.
Any questions for Dale, or any comments? Well, I attended and I brought my grandchildren, and it was a fine program, and I enjoyed it.
Did they do the bouncy things?
They did.
They won't let me on those things. I organize it and give them the check for it, and they can't. They just say they won't let me on there.
You reckon they might have a weight limit like they would me?
Well, it was funny. There's this, one of them's the big one where it has multiple levels, and there's this little net with this little hole that you crawl through. And I walked up to it, and there was a little kid about ready to go in line, and I said, "Can I get in front of you?" He said, "Why? You can't get through the hole."
I wouldn't be surprised your attendance estimate's saying a little low.
They are, but I couldn't. Roger Turney was there, and we all know Roger is an expert in math.
Yeah.
I kept trying to get him to count everybody's legs.
But he can't count 10.
They kept moving. Well, we can't use arms with Roger because it becomes an odd number. So we have to go with the legs.
What's the plan? What are you planning on doing with this $14,000 balance?
Spend it.
On what?
Fireworks show. My plan with the $14,000 balance.
Why didn't you spend the $12,000 this time, then?
Because I want to keep a year's worth of the way it works. I actually have to pay for the fireworks show before I get the money in from everybody else. So I have to have enough money on hand to pay for the fireworks show. And so what happens is that number will get really low after that number will go down when I buy everything, and then it gets back up when I get the donations from the county and the cities. Are you saying
you're holding two times what it took to put it out?
That's correct.
To do it.
Because it's been getting built up.
Yeah. You've had donations.
I don't mind it being built up, but I just want to know what you're going to do with it. I don't want to look up and there be $100,000 laying there 5-6 years from now, and taxpayer money going into it.
We're being optimistic another 5 or 6 years, but yes, if you want me to, the problem is who do I give the money to?
If it gets that big, we'll just have a bigger fireworks.
If it gets that big, then we may expand the fireworks show, but it's not going to ever be. It's never going to be that much money. I mean, basically, we're getting $1,000 extra each year. But the reason it's that way is 4 years ago, I didn't have to pay for hot dogs. I do now. 3 years ago, I didn't have to pay for entertainment. I do now. So I don't know where that's going. Is your concern just sit there not being used?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you want to use it for?
I don't know. You're the one running the show.
That's right.
You're the one that came to us a few years ago
That's
asking
right.
for money, and we're giving you the money, and
You
I don't
are.
want the money piling up and not being used. I don't want to look up here and this be another one of those funds that taxpayer money is laying in and nobody's using.
Well,
That's all I'm saying.
I understand, but I'm not going to use it on stuff just to be using it on. I'm using it on the show that needs to be used, and if I need it, it's there.
If it'll pay for itself, let's use the $2,600 we're giving to it and use it for something else.
How is it paying for itself?
Well, you made $2,000 this time.
And
That's what I'm saying. It's paying for itself.
no, because the show cost $8,000.
The 20. I'm just saying it's close to making it's clearing all over what we're putting in. It's made more than $1,000 a year. We've been doing it for 3 years.
Your donations, the donations from the people in kind and the cash donations augment.
Are putting it
and
over.
to that is where your excess
Extra.
is coming from people just digging in their pockets saying,
Correct.
I want to.
If you look, we have $1,168.31. We have $2,134.90 of personal donations. That's the extra money.
That's it.
Well, I think we should increase the fireworks, make them last longer, more fireworks.
I understand, and you got to be careful with that because at a certain point in time, it becomes boring. If it goes on too long, what you got to understand is people have been in the park for 3 or 4 hours at this point in time. And so, but yeah, I don't have a problem with expanding it. I actually think the time frame of it now is just about
Time frame is about right.
About right, as far as I'm concerned, but I have no problem with expanding it if that's what people wanted.
And you might could spend another, $200 or $300 and get a few more of the bigger ones, because you can tell the difference in the bigger ones and the smaller
Yeah.
ones, and you could, the fireworks people will have.
And the other
Options.
thing that I've done is I entered into a 3-year contract with the fireworks people. And basically what that contract says, if we do the fireworks show, this is the price we pay for the next 3 years, regardless if there's an increase in
Okay.
the cost. So, but I can certainly increase the fireworks if that's what's.
Any other questions for Dale from anybody? Thank you very much. It was a success.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.
Any other reports of the county officials? We have the one that you got in the mail, I think from the ambulance service, you got it. Are there any others that need to be reported on?
Yeah, on the county general, is this the final numbers through June? Or is it not hard at the end of it?
County general quarterly report right here?
Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. It's on the one I got.
I think that's correct.
For the
It says the end of June, and they tried to, for the
Okay.
last 2 or 3 days
Okay.
of June, not have anything, transacted. Any other questions? Number 6 on our agenda, election of notaries. Bobby?
John Roberts, Judy Denny, Elva Smith, Eileen Smith, Linda S. Casada, Jonathan Spurlock.
Your motion?
I'm gonna make a motion.
Kevin George made a motion.
Second.
Jimmy Mangle seconded. To elect these as notaries, approve them. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay. And we also have, is Mr. Mike Winton in the audience?
Yeah, Mark.
All right. Is it Mark or Mike?
Mike.
Mike, okay. He asked to just be able to introduce himself to this audience today, and I'm going to just take this time right here right after the notaries to let him do that.
All right, well, I appreciate it, and thank the committee and the mayor's office for letting me come out. They said it was important for folks, if you're gonna vote for somebody, put a face with a name, and And I got to thinking about that. I was with my doctor the other day. My wife had an exam, and he said, you don't need to work for 6 months. You don't need to do any house cleaning for 6 months. And I told him, give me a second opinion. He looked on there and he said, yep, here it is. You're ugly. So I'm here today. I'm running for Congress. And I'm running for Congress to represent part of this district, the 6th U.S. District. I'm running as an independent. The reason I'm here is this is where I know if I can communicate with your county commission, I can communicate with you. You don't need to be out of touch with Congress. And I'm running as an independent because party politics has blocked us from being able to represent you, the people. So I'll be on the ballot in November. I promise you I'll do a good job. I'll work hard. I was born and raised over in Pelham, Tennessee. I live in Manchester now, so I haven't traveled very far away. But small business owner, grew up poor, so if you call my office and you need help, you don't have to explain what's going on. I'm going to know what's happening. So appreciate your consideration. Again, thank the commission and the board for allowing me to speak.
Glad to. All right. I'm going to skip down to number 8. Right now, Mr. Harvey. Yes, sir.
I'm here to see about lowering the footage on beer sales from the church to the store to help bring in revenue since we've raised our property tax. And our county could sure use a few more deputies on the graveyard shift. And I doubt if that taxpayer, our property tax money going towards it.
Okay.
And I sell gas. And our county roads ain't in all that good shape. Which my business right now is doing about 3 times more than what I started. I believe I can do at least 3 times more with the sale of beer.
All right, you've been before the beer board, and then
Well,
wait just a minute, and then you got the right to come to us every what, 90 days?
I got a paper right here. The
Okay.
state don't change it or the beer board. It says only the county commission.
That's right. Only the county
Y'all
commission can
wanna see
change the
that?
regulations. That's what I was about to say. You've been before the beer board, and they haven't given us any recommendation. And do I hear a recommendation from anyone other than the beer board? You have the right to come before us every 90 days, is that right?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. And I'm glad to put you on the agenda.
But it says right there, the beer board does not have nothing to do with changing the footage.
No, only this board has something to do with changing the footage, and there'll be some different people on this board next year, and it'll still be up to them, whoever's on this board. It's not just the individuals that's on here, it's whoever sits on here.
You know where I stand.
Well, how much we're talking about changing it?
600 feet, 800 feet.
How far from church now?
I'm within 1,000 feet, little less than 1,000 feet.
How close you are to the cemetery?
Well, that cemetery is more of a monument. It don't even have a parking area for people to park to go to that cemetery.
It's a cemetery.
I'm less than 600 feet from that cemetery.
Is the cemetery included in that?
Unfortunately, yes.
They don't drink.
They
We
pay
will
taxes.
continue to consider your request, and you have the perfectly right to come
But I
every
mean,
90
they
days.
saying public gathering, there's no parking areas there. How can people gather right there?
I'm
Because
glad,
you can't park on the side of that road.
and I'm glad that your business has improved. Has been viable stores at that location without beer sales for all of my lifetime. And I'm glad that you're improving in your sales, and you continue to be a good a proprietor, and your sales will probably continue to go up, with or without beer sales.
Well, it's good enough for our city to do it, collect revenue. It's ought to be good enough for our county.
Well, our county does, but the regulations that are in effect right now have been in effect for a pretty good while. And we do have the authority to change them if we wanted to. I appreciate you being a good citizen.
Mr. Chairman, do we have anyone in the audience that opposes
Some of the, all these people are not here about the gun range. Some of them are there from the Short Mountain community about reducing the, reducing the footage to the beer store from the church down there.
when would we have the opportunity to hear from them?
Would anyone like to speak about, go ahead, state your name. This is what their rules are going to be, no matter what we're discussing. When you stand up and you're recognized, then you state your name, and then you've got about 2 or 3 minutes to state what you'd like to say. Go ahead.
My name is Charles Stanton. I pastor the church right down the road from Mr. Harvey. I'd like for everybody here to realize we have no ill feelings toward Mr. Harvey. We have no ill will. He stated out of his own mouth this morning that his sales have increased about 3 times. And the board has upheld the law up to this point. And we just came today to support the commission and that you continue to do what's right for the state and what's right for the people in the community. And we want Mr. Harvey to prosper. I even go in his store at times. I don't have any ill feelings for him. But I don't think it would be good for us to have a store selling beer that close to a church and a cemetery.
Does anybody else from the Short Mountain community want to?
Wouldn't it be easier just for everybody to stand up?
All right, everybody that's here and from the church there or the community, either one, doesn't matter. Everybody's here from the Short Mountain community, y'all.
But now, there you go. Are they residents of Cannon County?
It don't matter, that church is a resident. That
Residents?
church is a resident of this county.
I pay property tax in this county,
That's right.
all right?
And so-
Y'all raised our property tax.
A year ago.
Revenue.
Okay.
These people don't live in our county. Now, my store machine, my Coke machine's been broke in twice. My air compressor machine has been stolen once completely. The second one I got's been broke into. Now, we got a lack of deputies. I keep paying in revenue, paying in my property tax, but I do not see no more deputies.
Okay.
You'd ask for a motion.
All these people here, they've got a right to be here too. Thank you for coming.
So someone who works around our
ask for a
county,
motion.
All right, do I hear a motion?
Well, let me ask one more question. How many with the church does live in Cannon County? The pastor doesn't? You live in DeKalb?
I'm a property owner in Cannon County.
Yeah, you live in DeKalb. How close is DeKalb's line from a church to the beer sales? Does anybody know right off?
about 3 miles
No, I meant from a church to, what's their regulations?
from that church to.
From any church to any beer package store, what
In
is the
DeKalb
regulations for
County?
DeKalb County?
DeKalb County, 300 feet.
300 feet?
They recently changed their law and downsized the footage, even though the people that were petitioned for it had within the previous 1,000-foot boundary. And the county commissioners agreed there. And we have people going from Cannon County into DeKalb buying alcohol and coming back and having rest in Cannon County. That's costing us money for accidents and speeding and all the other goes with it.
We all know that alcohol needs to be regulated.
Right, so on
It needs to be
prescription drugs.
regulated, and I'm not in favor of loosening its regulations at all, but I don't hear a motion to do so. Y'all can be seated now. Anything else that y'all would like to hear from
I'll make a
anybody?
motion, take it down to 900 feet.
Well, if he does that, it still ain't gonna get in.
Yeah, he said he's within 1,000.
Okay, if you're gonna do that, we're gonna have Sunday beer sales.
Don't matter to me. I'm not gonna vote.
I mean, if you're gonna do one, let's do it all.
We got another resident over here who wants to ask the question. Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am?
Yes,
My name
ma'am.
is Priscilla Mingle. I live within 6 miles of that store. I personally do not buy beer. I don't drink it. but I know people that do. And why should our tax dollars, if we are hurting for tax money, why should our tax dollars go to Rutherford, DeKalb, all these counties around, when we should be thinking about our taxes, what our county needs? And if our resources are going elsewhere, because I don't drink.
I think if you researched it, most of the beer sales, most of the beer consumed in Cannon County is bought in Cannon County. A huge, it's
Not in my community.
It may be, sir, down here, but up in the hollers and out on Short Mountain, it's not
All right.
that way.
That's all right. That's your opinion.
Yes, sir.
Did you want to say something?
Oh,
That was yours. Okay. Yes, ma'am. What's your name?
I live in DeKalb County. My name is Doris Bashirs, and I'm gonna tell you something. Some of those that voted their beer have not been elected back, and I praise God for that.
Okay. Back to the commission now. We got a motion over here to change it. Do I hear a second by anybody?
I second.
All right. Got a motion and a second to go down to 900 feet.
Yeah.
Okay. Got a motion and a second to go down to 900 feet. Call the roll, Bobby.
Art Barker,
No.
Russell Reed,
Yes.
Jimmy Mingle,
Yes.
Jim Bush,
No.
Kevin George.
No.
Jim Jones,
No.
Chuck Hope,
No.
motion failed.
All right, the motion fails. Mr. Harvey, you have the right to come back in 90 days, and I hope that your business continues to prosper. I know John and L.D. Noakes ran that store for years and had prospered. And Ellis Farrell, when Ellis Farrell was living right beside it, it didn't get, the things didn't get vandalized either. So, you know, they had fewer deputies then than they do now. Isn't that right, Darrell?
Now we got more people in our county than what we did back then.
What kind of people would go vandalize your property? I don't, you know, that's
Well,
bad.
it's, for as big as our county is, we should have enough taxpayer
You've had
money
plenty
right
of
here to have more deputies.
You've had plenty of time. None of our tax problems are because we don't have enough beer sales. Continuing on. Have another group of people here that want to discuss the gun range on the Pleasant Ridge, and this is held over from our discussion the last meeting, and we requested that the owners, the family that owns the gun range on Pleasant Ridge, that they be present this time. And we stated, you know, to y'all that we would ask them to be present this time, and they are. And because some of y'all got to talk last time first, we're gonna let them go first this time. And we would like to do the same thing that we did with the beer store. We're gonna have an orderly discussion, and you stand up to be recognized, and you'll have 2 or 3 minutes to state your case. But first, we're gonna let the property owners go first, and that's the Parker family.
Mr. Chairman, I request to record this segment of this meeting.
You may. Lay it up there with that other recorder.
Yeah.
We got plenty of recorders. We don't have
They
anything.
record each other.
Don't have anything to hide.
My name is Barbara Parker, owner of property located at 3175 Pleasant Ridge Road in Cannon County. I'm married to Grady Parker, owner and manager of the OK Corral shooting range situated on said property. We are in attendance at this meeting of our own free will. We have not been subpoenaed to be here, nor did we receive an official letter from the county commission, the county court clerk, or the county executive to appear, as had been stated in the Green Courier we would receive. However, private citizens Grady Parker and Mark Barker did have a casual conversation at a local fundraiser where Mr. Barker suggested that we attend. Therefore, any comments made by the Parker family will be voluntary, and it is my understanding for informational purposes only, and will have no bearing on the operations of the OK Corral shooting range. We know that the gun range was a topic of discussion at the June 10th regular meeting of the County Commission. This item was not listed on the agenda for that meeting, and we were not informed of its inclusion as a discussion topic. We have since found out through Cannon Courier articles, WBRY newscast, social media, particularly Facebook, and gossip on the street are the details of that discussion. Since we were not present at the last meeting, and in order to clarify some of the issues, I would like to ask a few questions. Are there any countywide regulations concerning who can own a business, where the business is located, or what kind of business can be started?
Nope.
No, not I know.
Is there a countywide noise ordinance?
Nope.
No.
Is there an ordinance regulating business hours for entertainment or recreational facilities or any other types of businesses?
Nope.
I take that as a no. I should.
Nope.
That's right. No. Kevin said no.
Is this a meeting to establish regulations for countywide businesses?
Nope.
No.
In the future, if the county commission sets regulations for businesses, will these regulations apply to established businesses?
In other words, you're saying grandfather.
It could.
Grandfathered in.
It could apply.
They could apply legally.
I'd have to ask a county attorney about that. I don't know.
According to CTAS, they could apply.
Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Did the county commission sanction the placement of an ad located on page 27 of this week's Cannon Courier? I have a copy for you.
Not that I'm aware of.
No.
We didn't.
I seen it in the paper. Not that I'm aware of.
No, we don't have nothing to do with that
I
part.
don't put it in there, yeah. And it doesn't tell who's
That's all
put it
right.
in.
I seen it in the paper, Barbara.
We'd have done it, we'd have put our name on it.
That's right.
This ad appeared on the public notice section of the Cannon Courier directly under the county commission meeting and appears to be from the county commission, and that this is a public forum. It was paid for by a private citizen. Cannon Courier decided not to put that in there. That's another matter. According to your responses, the county commission did not call for a public forum on the gun range as this Courier ad proposes.
No.
Secondly, you stated there are no countywide regulations concerning businesses outside the city limits. Therefore, the OK Corral shooting range has not violated any county ordinances.
We've saved a lot of time here. There's virtually no regulation in this county.
We never said that there was anything being violated.
I contend that further discussion on this topic in this type setting would solely be for the purpose of slander and soliciting personal prejudice against my family and an act of discrimination against the OK Corral shooting range, since it is not the only business operating outside the city limits, and it is not the only facility of its type in this county. Thank you.
That's duly noted. And you're correct in your statement that there aren't any noise regulations. And the, as far as where the ad was placed in the Courier, you'll have to take that up with the owners of the paper. We didn't do that. And the commissioners said that they would, told me to ask, I think he said ask, well, y'all stated, ask them to come this next time.
I did, we were talking about it, and I didn't,
And
I think we
asked-
need to be up here talking about it without y'all being here.
So I asked the Parker family to come to this meeting because that's what y'all told me to do.
Sure.
But they're not subpoenaed. They don't have to say anything.
Now, I went
No.
up there, Mark, and visited that gun range. It's very well laid out. It appears to be very well run. When I was up there, he had signs posted that limited the hours to 6 in the afternoon and banning the Tannerites.
That's right.
Now, the way it is, that was all voluntary.
That's all voluntary. Now, Is there anybody else, Grady, do you want to say anything, or is that enough?
No, I'm just complete.
Okay. Anybody else would like to comment? We're gonna let some of the people, because this is a meeting of an elected body, though, the citizens have a right to come and say something under other business, and that's where it came up the last time. We didn't really know that it was gonna come up.
Can I ask?
Yes, sir, you might.
What is your schedule, Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday is 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Saturday and Sunday?
Saturday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Sunday, noon to 6.
After our meeting, the last meeting we had, when all this came up, on my way home, I got a thing on Facebook, and it was where somebody had shared where you had changed your hours. I didn't know any of that. Of course, somebody heard us talking about it up here and seen it. That he had already changed his hours before we had that meeting, and I, we talked about it at the last meeting. This hadn't got anything to do with wanting to regulate your business or regulate anything. I don't want you took out of business. What you do is a right that everybody in this country has to do. Everybody just doesn't have a good place to go do it. Do I wish they wasn't shooting in Miss Eleanor's back door? Yes. That's my opinion, and that's all it is. But when some of your neighbors had talked to you about it, and you had changed your hours, you had put hours on there, you've done, I don't know that you can ever do enough for everybody in this room. We said before, we said at the last meeting, we weren't interested in doing anything as far as regulating. We just wanted everybody to be good neighbors and live together, and live and be happy. And that's what y'all want. Y'all want that too. Y'all don't want to be sitting up there and nobody like you. Nobody wants to live that way. And I don't know that I don't really know how this discussion turned into a legal statement, but that wasn't what it was intended for. Well, I brought it up that night because I'd had people call me about it, and there were people here. That's how it got started. I don't think it has to be.
All right.
We didn't want to start a fight.
Now, Jim, you said you went up there and you think it's well laid out, and you didn't have a big problem with it, right?
I've had people for the past few years. They've been up there 4 or 5 years, I think. And I've had people in the past, and to go check that out. Well, I've been to country gun ranges before, thank you. That's the first time I'd been up to that one. I'm not really one of those people who likes to go to a range like that. I'd rather go to one that's well run. This one's well run. It's laid out good. It's being well run. It seems to be well controlled. He's got a log there for people to sign in when they show up, and he tells me if they don't want to sign the log, they don't get to stay.
Any other comments, anybody?
And so you also banned your hot shots, right?
Yeah, that's been banned for a long time.
We're gonna have a discussion on that in a minute too.
Well, are these hours, are they enforced?
Yes, if you hear shooting before 9 a.m. or after 6 p.m., it's coming from somewhere else.
Now, any other commissioner want to make a comment? I drove by, and since the last meeting, I went up there myself just to sort of look around and check things out. I didn't see anything wrong either, but, you can't, I don't live up there, so I don't know how many, is it true that MTSU's a skeet team comes up there to practice?
MTSU track team has.
I mean, if I'd been there when they were practicing, I would have heard them. I know that, but they didn't happen to be there.
Hey, I've shot a few hundred rounds off that side of that hill up there myself.
That's right.
This got nothing to do with the business that you're in.
That's right.
Or any of that.
Now,
it's got to do with the fact that we've got neighbors, and the business you're in just happens to make a lot of noise, and that was the whole discussion.
Let's give some of the people that are here that would like to make some statements about, and I would like for you to keep your comments to, if you can make a good comment about it, that you appreciate that are y'all aware that they cut the hours down since a month ago or 6 weeks ago? Can you tell that they cut the hours down? Okay. And now, do you have 2 or 3 people that want to speak? Well, let's just come up to the podium just like Barbara did. Gene Mason is one of them because he spoke last time. Go on up there, Gene. Who else would like to speak next? Raise your hand. Okay. Got 2 right over here. Okay. Go ahead, Gene.
All right, my name is Gene Mason. I'm here to let Barbara and Grady know that their gun range has created havoc in our community. And I'm asking them to stop this problem, not let it go any farther. And just take this intrusion out of our lives, and let's all live together. And there's been a lot of people approached me about this, and I was asked to get a petition with names. In the mail, you asked me about the petition. Here's the names. And last time I was here, I just came to see how the meeting was conducted. And I was asked the neighbors to come. And I want to thank all the neighbors that showed up out here and the people that's got issues with the gun range. And there's a bunch of issues and a bunch of problems. And I hope y'all will solve this problem without the commissioners having to act. But if you can't, I hope the commissioners will do everything they can to make sure that we have peace and tranquility back at our home. But it is miserable. 7 days a week. Thank you.
All right. Next. Go right ahead. And you can speak from where you're standing if you'd like. What's your name?
My name is Josh Lance. I live at 3080 Pleasant Ridge Road, right across the street from this elder. I've known Grady and Barbara for years. I love them to death. They're great people. My thing is there are no hours that were regulated. They might be now, but it's just because all this headway has come and it's been bad publicity. That's the only reason that this has been put forward. My question is, would anybody like a rifle range in their front yard or their backyard? And if they would like it in their front yard or backyard, they could have built it on the opposite side of the holler in their front yard. Because it would be aimed back this way instead of there. I mean, the truth is it's awful. I talked to Nicholas back in the fall at 7:30, 8:30 in the morning. It was 8 o'clock in the morning. I work second shift. I get home every night around 1:30, 2 o'clock every night. So I don't get up till 8:30, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock some days if I don't work till late. The rifle range was going at 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was directly across from my front yard. It was a clip, 20 rounds, was empty, just enough to wake you up, make a nuisance, and they would stop for 10 minutes, and they would do it again. Load up another clip, empty another round. Just long enough to, make sure that you couldn't get any rest. It's been a nuisance on my lifestyle. It's been a nuisance on Miss Eleanor's lifestyle, and we just, we don't understand. One thing is that I can understand is on Sundays, the Lord's Day. Why is it that we have a rifle range going off on Sunday? Why it shouldn't be open on Sunday? It should be closed. And the hours of 9 to 6, I appreciate you, changing that, but 6 o'clock at night, I still feel like that's too late. 9 to 4, 10 to 4. I understand that you got to make a living, and I understand that you got to have a business to run, but it's way too intrusive on my lifestyle, and it's really
We understand. Who would like to be next?
Me.
Go ahead. What's your name?
My name is Wiley Adams.
Wiley, okay.
I live at 185 Adamson Lane. My property joins the Oak Corral property. The noise is outrageous. I can't even have my family over to have a cookout. There's been bullets coming from the shooting range, and even one went to a truck in my driveway. It's just unreal. And it's all times of the day, times of the day. And It has quietened down some lately,
Okay.
but it's still, if you was just come to my house, sit in my rocking chair, any day, just come sit in my rocking chair on my front porch with me, and we'll have a glass of tea, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Okay. Who'd like to be next? You raised your hand, go ahead.
My name is Cynthia Lance Jones. I own the property at 3080 Pleasant Ridge Road. And what I want to say is that we live in a great neighborhood. And it's a shame that we're here. We all should be trying to figure out how to get this situation under control. And we're all neighbors, and I feel like that there's some way we can come up with something. I did attend church at Sunny Hill Church of Christ back last year, and I can tell you that on Sunday it was hard. And I think what's happened is this gun range started out as something small, target practice, and I'm not against the gun range at all. I like gun ranges, I think they're fine. I think what's happened is the noise in our neighborhood has just gotten too much. We have some elderly people that live there, and it's scary for them. It's scary for me when I mow the grass. When you're out on your deck and you hear that over and over, you have to go inside. You just can't nerve-wise take it. Josh was in an accident June 30th, 2012, and I brought him home from Vanderbilt. I was a wreck. He was very sick. And hearing that over and over and over, it caused me to have to go and get medication because I couldn't take it. It's just nerve-wracking. And Miss Eleanor, she's to the point now she can't go outside. She just doesn't feel comfortable. And I think it's just a buildup of over time that what's happened is it started out a certain way, and maybe it is getting under control more now. But it's caused all these ill feelings and hardships on people. And so I think the commission needs to really consider going forward that if a business is going to start like that, you know, we need to figure out some way to make sure there's rules in place or something like that, so that this doesn't happen again.
And I would like for you to know that we would like for everybody to be good neighbors to each other. And we still live in a free country, and it's free to start a business, but most of you, I think, would like for them to be able to continue, but you would like for it to be limited. And as they've stated, they've limited to 9 to 6. I'd like to suggest that during daylight saving time, maybe you could cut that back, you know, but since the days are shorter during daylight saving time, you maybe cut your 6 o'clock back to an earlier hour. But that's totally up to you. And what you want to do on the weekend is it's not starting till noon on Sunday. I think is a good idea. And do I have anyone else in the audience that would like to speak after Cynthia spoke? Gene?
I've got one other thing to tell you, Barbara and Grady. That was me put that ad in the paper, but where it was put at, I had no control over that. They done that. The paper did. I just want you to know who put it in there.
Okay.
And anybody else.
And if we can all just talk to each other and try to, be upfront about things, I think we could have an agreement that, we can live and let live. That's what I think we should do.
Can there be some common ground?
Yeah, I've got one more thing on that.
Well, just hold on. Can there be some common ground we can work with, Barbara and your husband? Or y'all in the community? I mean, I don't live there, but what I'm asking, can they be some type of common ground that y'all can work with?
Yeah, we're
What are you?
I mean, no, I'm not asking.
What are the grounds of the common ground?
Well, what I'm saying, can you do more than what you've already done? I mean, if you can't, I understand that. It's your business.
3 or 4 months out of the year, we already close at 4:30 in the evening. It's dark in the wintertime. It's closed at 4:30. We're not going to shoot till 6 just because we can.
Okay. Well, you need to state that, in your, I think you got a little place where the people sign in. There's rules and regulations, and you need to consider what the rules are. And I think this is really a victim of its own success. I mean, if there was just a few people coming, there wouldn't be as much, but it's been successful because they're.
Well, I quit going because it's too crowded. I don't like to be up there shooting with a bunch of people. But that's what it's turned. It just took off, you know. And
anybody else in the audience that was wanting to say something with her? Yes, ma'am.
I'm Tricia Lawrence. I live at 1281 Sycamore Creek Road. We've been there 38 years. Could you guys close 1 or 2 days a week so we can have some peace, have some family over? I mean, could you do that for us?
Weekends are their biggest.
It's an entertainment venue, and people have the right to go for entertainment. And most other places are not limited to a specific day. If you want to go see a movie, it's open. If you want to go to a drive-in, it's open.
They don't affect us.
Has any of the complainants ever approached you, come knocked on your door and asked to sit down and discuss this with you prior, before today?
About 2 years ago, Barbara got a phone call. The man said he wished I was shot in the head and not dead. But a paraplegic can live that way the rest of my life.
That's not good.
No, not at all.
That's the only phone call I have received that's been negative and asked to limit the hours.
Nobody else has talked to you about it?
I received a message from Mr. Josh Lance, and he said, we got to do something, and I said, I'll take care of it immediately. So that was the time that he said it was early in the morning when they were shooting. And I worked with him and told him anytime we were going to have a training class or anything like that, we would let him know in advance. That way he knew that it was up and coming. But our hours have been 9, so I mean since then everything has been open after 9 a.m. in the morning.
Well, let me ask one question too. I know you're right on top of the hill, and that carries. I live in Auburntown, and you can hear it at Auburntown.
You can't hear a cell phone in Auburntown. Hardly.
We don't have any service to that cell phone, but we can, and I've heard people there, especially the end of Harrican down there going up Kennedy Creek. They can hear it. Most of your gun ranges are in a holler or something where the hills buff it. You know, and I know there is a nice holler down below you there, but getting, in and out would be a big problem.
We have approximately 300 acres up there, adjoining another 1,200 or 1,500 acres that's uninhabited. We're not subjected, we don't have the 1,500 rolling acres of flat soil ground that can be planted. That land is very limited to what can be done out there.
But if that was moved to the bottom of that holler there.
For 20 years, I've ridden the tractor push hogs to the bottom of those hills and back up those hills, sliding to the bottom and climbing back out of the top. And, trying to keep it looking nice. And this was an opportunity to try to recoup some of our tax dollars.
What you're asking, we don't have like the hauler, okay, that you can get to. So if you were to look at the gun range, you would see that no bullets are shot toward the road, no bullets are shot toward a person's house. They are shot toward the back of the property, which goes on for, acres. So that as far as the sound traveling to Auburntown Road, I would disagree with that. I live fairly close to this gun range. I live closer than Mr. Mason lives. And I live closer than several of these people live. And that sound is not what you're hearing. But I do have 5 neighbors, and one of them is Mr. Mason, who shoot in their yards quite frequently. Those are not regulated. I have no idea which way those bullets are going, and they can shoot at all hours. We have business hours, they don't have business hours, but 5 neighbors of mine, and I know that there are people who are shooting in their yards all over this county, because we had, in my job, an air conditioning unit shot from a subdivision and had to replace a $4,000 air conditioner. So I do know that, people are shooting all over the county. This gives them an organized place that is safe and healthy and clean and regulated and inspected.
I'd like, Mr. Adamson wants to say one more thing, but before you say anything, now, as far as the truck in your property, personally, I'll give you my information. After the 4-lane was built, I found a bullet hole through one of our buildings that had 2 insulation and walls on it, inside and out. And we found a bullet hole through it after the 4-lane was built. I don't think you can just say, well, because this old truck got shot, that it came from the range. You understand what I'm saying? I mean, there are people that drive down the road and shoot signs and other things, and a place like theirs to shoot that is regulated, and you've got people that have signed in, it's much more likely that it was a drive-by shooting than it was from them, and that's just my opinion.
In your opinion.
Go ahead.
But you're not saying where the truck is, nor the angle that the bullet came. If you will come to my driveway, look at this truck, and look at the angle the bullet came in, when it went through the glass and went through the door, you can tell where it come from.
Okay. Did you want to say anything else?
Anybody, I'd like for them to look. You to look, anybody to look. And I have a son that went over and fought for our country that will be home soon from the military. And is he gonna be expected to try to sleep with all this going on?
Well, their hours are not during the nighttime. Now, I understand that Josh may work a second shift and need to sleep early in the morning, but their hours are limited. Thank you, Wiley. And one final word, Gene.
I just want to ask a question or two to Grady. Before opening this range, Grady, did you consult with a range development operations professional?
Gene Mason, you came and helped lay the range out.
I did not.
You absolutely did.
No.
You brought your range finder out and sat right there.
I did
here's
not.
50 yards, here's 100 yards, and here's 200 yards.
That
You
is-
was at the range, you helped lay it out.
That is a lie. I loaned my range finder
Okay.
out.
Well, y'all had your range finder over
Okay,
there.
did you consult with a professional?
No, but the state has inspected.
Okay, did the professional, they are professionals that do this. They do a noise impact on neighbors. They do EPA lead standards. They consult you on construction, range maintenance, and range safety. And my next question is there a certified range safety officer when there's 2 or more people shooting?
We're operating it all the time with someone on site.
Is he certified? Or
Not,
her?
not certified per se,
Okay, that was my question.
but everybody there.
There is a certification for a range safety officer too.
Let me ask one more question of the Parkers. Are any of our law enforcement people coming to be certified or to practice at the range? From anywhere?
TBI, THP, Belmont University, MTSU campus, Rutherford County, Murfreesboro SWAT.
Okay. So we have people that are familiar with gun ranges and stuff that are there that they could probably, if they're.
Very much so.
And they would be, Darrell, I'll ask you this question. If a law enforcement officer saw something that was unsafe about a place that they were training at, wouldn't they, in your opinion, say something about it? Okay.
Game wardens up there twice a year for hunter safety course, March and August.
And all of those things are good. All of those things are good. And we yes. I'm getting the same people over and over now.
Well,
Go ahead, Cynthia.
I'm sorry. Anything you do needs safety behind it. I don't care, and especially when there's firearms.
That's right.
And if nobody's certified through the state of Tennessee, and there's no certifications on that range, then no, it does not need to be in operation.
The police people that come
Police
there are
don't-
coming, wait a minute, they're coming to get certified, and they have to have somebody with
No,
them.
it doesn't matter. The range itself has to be certified. A boy from my work, where I work, will not go back up there because he was almost shot up there, retrieving a.
Well, that's hearsay.
I know, okay, it is, but I'm just saying.
And this isn't a court, this isn't
I know,
a
it's
proceeding like that.
But that's what's wrong with the county and this county. We have no certifications for anything. I was in daycare business for 22 years. I operated a business taking care of people's children. And until the last 4 years that I was in business, did I have I had a license, but I didn't have any safety certifications whatsoever in this county. Lives are precious. Lives are precious.
Well, there's
It
a
doesn't
difference in
matter.
a daycare and the gun range too.
Absolutely, Mark, but there's people involved in that. There's citizens in our county.
That's right.
It doesn't matter, from little children to anybody. I'm just saying, if a range is hot or cold, you need someone that knows exactly what to do. They shouldn't be shooting unless they know, unless they have somebody there to tell them to go ahead and fire.
But any of us have the right to get in our backyard, just like say, and sight in a pistol or whatever we want to do with nobody present except for the property owner.
Well, I put that back in your lap.
That's right.
Because that is your job. We elect these officials to put these rules in order. And if you do not do it, then I'm sorry, but it's gonna be somebody's life on you, because you have to put those rules in. If they're running a gun range and it's unsafe, if they're running a daycare business or anything in this county where people are unsafe, then I can tell you right now, it's gonna come back to you all to make the rules.
The state of Tennessee makes those rules. They don't let counties make all of them. Now
It'll actually
You
be,
do
it'll
have the
actually
rights to make the
be on
rules.
Grady and he's not got everything he's supposed to have.
Okay.
It's up to the business owner to make sure that he's doing everything
That's
legal
right.
and make sure he's doing
but the
everything
people that
right.
inspect your
He's
daycare
taking the
for
risk.
state, not the county.
Can I make a comment here?
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
I've spent some of my time on a firing range. I'm sure some of y'all have too, and I'm here to tell you that the ones I've been on is one of the safest places I've ever been as far as firearms are concerned. Everybody's watching everybody else.
Okay. Any other comments from another commissioner? Jim? Anybody? Next, we're gonna have a, go ahead,
I
Chuck.
want to ask the question to the complainants. Why haven't they, or why haven't you contacted Barbara and her husband prior of today's meeting? Because everybody says you want to be a good neighbor. If you have a neighbor that's not, that you having a problem with, you should be able to call them and contact them and let them know what's going on. And they tell me that today is the first time they've heard about it, and only have had one call in the past. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, it's a neighborhood. I don't think the commissioner should try to control a neighborhood, and because we all want to get along,
That's
no matter
right.
what.
Next, we're going to have a.
Let me
go
say
ahead.
one thing. You know what, the county does have a few regulations.
Mm-hmm.
They have it on junkyards, correct? Trailers,
Yes, some.
porno stores.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Nope.
There's no regulations on,
No,
my understanding
no.
was
Not down there.
adult drug
They can build one
stores.
on the courthouse square if they want to.
No, there's a city record.
The city may have regs.
No, city
told
may
them
have
that
more
the
Now,
than
my
county.
understanding was at a meeting here 3 years ago or something like that, when I first started, that's all we had. Regulations was on junkyards, trailer parks, and I think porn
Did we do
stores,
that?
adult stores.
We had a,
I didn't
what
think
they call a salvage bill. You couldn't have X number amount of vehicles unless they were tagged and licensed and runnable on the person's property, and so on.
Okay. I'm gonna go to the next thing. But the next thing
Are
is
they
about.
something that we could do?
That, I don't know. We're gonna have to
That
check
could
in
be
and
done
find
through
out.
zoning.
Yeah.
And the only thing you can do through zoning, it's kind of like the rock crusher down here. You can say all the rock crushers that come into this county have to be in this area and zone out an area that's the only place they can be. You can't tell them they can't come. We can set out a zone for the porn stores, and all the porn stores have to be put here, up there in that holler up out somewhere, down below the gun range. And, that's the only place they can be. You can't tell them they can't come and do business here, but you can tell them where they can do
The
business.
state of Tennessee does have regulations on many things, and we live in the
Right.
United States of America, not the United Counties of America. Our hands are sort of tied on some regulations because the state's already regulated.
Well, see, the thing about it is too, and getting back to Kevin's point, you don't have zoning. We've asked, we've done all we keep asking for regulations and all that. I mean, a person can build a $600,000 home a guy can pull a trailer right in beside of it, hey, that's life.
The problem with the regulations is you start getting into you can't have a regulation without taking somebody's freedom.
Right. I
Of
mean,
some
you know,
sort.
Take somebody else's freedom
But let
away.
me say one other thing, codes, like building codes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we tried to get that passed here.
I didn't.
No, you
You
voted
did.
against it. But, you know.
We're gonna
anybody
stay
can
on the
build.
gun range here
Well,
just a minute.
It's the same difference, it all
It's the
connects
same
together.
difference, that's right.
No regulation.
We're gonna have a little PowerPoint here. Now, Grady and Barber have already stated that they have not outlawed, they do not allow tannerite to be on their property. Now, it has been in the past probably. And on the 4th of July, I heard some tannerite in the readable area because I know what I can hear. I know what a big firework is, and I know what an exploding target is. So there was some used in the readable community. There's been some used in Jim Gibbs's community. Tannerite is an exploding target, is what it is. And y'all may have heard it in the past, but they have voluntarily outlawed its use on their property. But Jim Gibbs has got a short PowerPoint here on tannerite, and when he gets done with that, then we're going to move on to the next thing.
If I could also, I want to. I've been up to OK Corral, and I'm a firearms instructor. I've been certified for years for law enforcement and security, and Grady gave me the cook's tour of the place. And as far as a gun range, and as far as the qualifications of the people up there, it is an ideal setting, and it's a good range. As far as a gun range, I wouldn't have any complaints. As far as the noise, if I was a neighbor, it might be a different issue. I'll be presenting this little presentation because it can be a problem. As far as feeling safe on a range, Jim Jones, when I teach, I wear a vest. So I don't necessarily feel safe when I'm on a gun range, but it's a good range, and it's a real dilemma. What this is tannerite, and tannerite is a trade name, and it's legal to purchase. It comes in 2 parts, and once you mix it together to use, then under the tannerite name, they say it has to be penetrated by a bullet going faster than 200 feet per second, a rifle bullet, in order to set it off. ATF has determined that once the 2 parts are mixed together, then by ATF and by federal law, then it is an explosive. And if you were to try to mix it, if Grady would allow, if you try to mix it at your home, put it in your car, and drive over to OK Corral and shoot it, it would be unlawful for you to do that. ATF thinks it's an explosive. There are a variety of formulas for it, and it can be homemade. And there's, for safety reasons, tannerite says that you need to be 100 yards away from even the smallest amounts of it that you set off. Let's see if I can get this thing working here. Okay, this. Come on. See if I can get this. This will give you an example, if you can all hear and see this, of what tannerite is. Tannerite is to put it in these little containers and you shoot it with your bullets. So you don't have to walk 100 yards down range to see if you hit the target. You know you hit it, it just blew up. And that's the point, and that's the only purpose for tannerite whatsoever. In our neighborhood, we've got a situation, I sort of set the stage here. This is off of Virgin, it's a subdivision. There's 3 houses here. The one on the immediate left is the first house. The one in the middle is a guy that, as an active shooter, he likes to shoot. He has a target set up in the back of his property. And then, unfortunately, there's another house on the end there that's pretty close together. And if you see, there's the center house right there. And it's hard to see, but back in the back is a target. I got a little red ring around it right there. That's his gun range. And unfortunately, It's real close. There's a close-up of his target, his gun range back there. And there's the house joined to him. And again, his target is circled there in red. And the distance back to that target from his neighbor's house is approximately 130, 150 feet at the very most. Keep in mind, tannerite says that you need to be 100 yards away from it before you set it off. This particular situation with his neighbor, he's not being neighborly, and it sort of relates really back to the issue of the gun range, because the gun range is a good range. There's nothing wrong with that range. He's established business, but I can appreciate the neighbors complaining about the noise, and so that's going to be the issue. That's the same issue here, just as Mrs. Parker pointed out. They're not the only ones shooting in the county. There's other people shooting, and some of them are private citizens that aren't controlled by as a business. So it does become a problem. This guy frequently shooting high-powered rifles, and either he's a really fast on the trigger or he is shooting fully automatic weapons over there, because you can hear rapid fire. And on one occasion, at least, they were down there, and keep in mind where they're shooting is about 15 feet from the property line. In this little area where I'm talking about, there are at least 10 kids, at least 8, maybe 10 kids. I'm not sure of the total nose count. Every one of those houses has small kids there. He was shooting clay pigeons. I'm not sure, I didn't witness it, but he was throwing clay pigeons up, and they were shooting right adjacent to the property line and real close to the neighbor's house that's complaining. And at one occasion, they were shooting after dark, and for safety and noise concerns, the people in the end house, that I'm going to show you a video from them, that they called the sheriff on at least 2 occasions. Once when they were throwing the pigeons in the air, clay pigeons in the air, and they thought that they were drinking, but that's just their opinion. And no case where the deputies determined that they could do anything, and so they just talked to him and left. This is a video, and I will set the stage for this. If you saw those massive brick houses, this is actually a cell phone turned on its side from inside the house. The windows are all closed, air conditioning on. This is the 4th of July. And I can find my, there we go. This is just shooting. This is from inside that house. That kind of relates to what these other folks are going through up on Pleasant Ridge. This is pretty close. This is about 150 feet.
This guy needs to go over and take a right.
Pardon?
He needs to go up to the shooting range.
Yeah, they need to go up and see grade.
And bother all these people.
Now, this is interesting. Watch when he's going to shoot tannerite next to his neighbor. You watch the screen of this thing when tannerite goes off. He's having a tough time hitting it. See that screen move? That was sitting on the ledge of a solid brick house, probably about a $400,000 house.
This is private property you're talking about here.
Yes.
This is all on private property.
So this guy's not running a firing range.
No.
Yeah. And then this is hard to see, but that particular day, I could hear him shooting. Kind of go up here and just point out if I can. Well, I won't. I got an answer. My house is right here where that yellow is. And I'm a quarter of a mile from where they're shooting that stuff off. I can hear it up at my place. At one point, this is Avon Conley's hayfield. The first time I encountered this fella, he was shooting it off over here. I have a neighbor right here that when he was shooting it off over there, he's knocking the pictures off his wall in his house. He's got a vinyl-clad house, but it's about a 4,000 square foot house. Knocked pictures off of it, and I talked to the owner of the house here, which is, you can't see the houses in there. This is an old tax plat map, but they're shooting it right about in there, and he's knocking pictures off the wall in the house right there. So you can imagine the concussion that the direct neighbors are feeling. And like I said, it can be made home at home. The finer, my understanding is, the finer the material is, the more explosive it is. In fact, they've got, you can go to YouTube, you can make your own. At least they're smart enough to tell you when you're mixing the two components and making it fine powder, use two separate blenders. So, and 22 caliber can set it off. There's a guy that's got some. He set it off with a suppressed. That's a silenced 22 pistol, which even slows the bullet down even more. So a 22 caliber can set it off. And if you don't think it's dangerous, watch this. This is 12 pounds of it, and the guy's gonna, the 12 pounds is in that jug. He's gonna set it downrange beside that washer. When it goes off, you'll see the pieces of the washer fly.
Camera's rolling. Send it. Oh my gosh!
Now, if you think that's good, you got one more watch. 50 pounds of it, and a 1994 Chrysler LeBaron.
1994 Chrysler LeBaron. Blew a rod through the box, so it's useless to us.
This is in Wyoming, by the way.
Back out, and Dan take a shot. See what we're getting. Okay.
I've seen
Oh,
how stuff works.
you've been on there.
That's why they outline.
You gotta be careful who you do next to, folks. So I offer that to you, and
All right.
I hope that you will figure out some way.
That's tannerite now, and it's on YouTube, but Grady and them not letting tannerite be used.
This guy's not running the firing range.
In the letter I sent to you, it is my opinion, of course I have people that disagree, but I think that it's a good read. Under Tennessee law, possession of an explosive, there's some exceptions, but possession of an explosive is a felony. And it's not being enforced, and I think that you ought to at least initially look at the tannerite situation to the Sheriff's Department and to at least enforce that. And then also the reckless endangerment. If you noticed on that video with this guy shooting right next to the property line, both families have small kids. And I have one neighbor, his dad and he are hunters. He's around in those trees all the time. Now, maybe he don't belong back there, but there's a good chance he might be back in there. There's a good chance he might be back in there wearing camouflage. And in addition to that, the being that close to the tannerite, setting it off closer to those houses, one of my neighbors is concerned about his foundation. It's got to be somewhere in the reckless endangerment. I think that there is some enforceable laws right now.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
But it is legal. You can buy it at Bass Pro or
You can buy it all over the place.
Make it up in your kitchen.
As long as the two components are unmixed, as soon as you mix it, then you have an explosive.
And when it's mixed, it becomes an explosive,
controversial.
not until then, right?
It's fairly stable.
It is illegal in a few states. It's illegal to have it mixed, like in Nebraska, California, they're arresting people. A couple of places up in the eastern states are arresting people.
All right. Now, I have one other person raised their hand. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. My name is Diane Mayo, and I live at 3866 Pleasant Ridge Road. I didn't come here to say anything today, but after hearing everything, I don't know Grady. I know Barbara a little bit. I have nothing against that. But I used to say that I lived in the most beautiful place in the whole world. And now I say I live in the most beautiful place in the whole world, except for the gun range. We like to have our windows open. We worship at home, we pray at home. Thanksgiving, you're having a prayer. Christmas, you're having a prayer. It's nonstop. Like Cynthia had said, it's not, and I see smiles on people's faces. And it's not just boom, boom, boom. It is nonstop. We can't, if If I'm sick, and I have had surgery and been home sick, you cannot raise your windows. You cannot do anything without trying to muffle out that sound.
No, we can't hear you back here.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to start over?
No, that's fine, that's fine. Jim has shot too much during his life, his hearing is impaired.
It sounds like. And I do work from home. And when I have lots of conference calls and I work through my computer with the DSL, I have people ask me, what is going on in your house?
Okay.
Is there an army?
Did I have one other person? Joyce, you
Oh,
want
I
to?
have one more thing.
Okay, go ahead.
What about a noise ordinance? If we don't have one, why don't we? And
Well,
and
would it apply to lawnmowers? I mean, when you cross that,
Now, Mr. Barker,
when you cross that,
I can answer that question for you. Most people are perfectly in favor of land use restrictions on their neighbors, but not on themselves.
Exactly.
Are you saying I might make too much noise?
The only way that you can do a thing like that, it has to apply to everyone.
Don't other areas have noise ordinances?
We don't have any noise ordinance.
Cannon County does have a noise
The city
ordinance.
Do they?
Yeah, you get in your car without a muffler on it and come on the streets.
see,
I was young at one time, I know. And there's the noise order.
I ain't heard nobody getting a muffler ticket in 30 years.
I haven't either.
okay. Did you have one
Darryl,
more
y'all
thing?
still give
Well, I
tickets?
just look to the county.
Where'd he go?
I don't blame.
For mufflers, you don't?
It's just, why doesn't the county do something to protect us? I mean, it's a terrible thing, Mr. Barker.
Because you can't get 7 to vote for it.
Are you willing to have county government tell you what you can and can't do with your property?
Well, I'm talking about noise.
Yes, ma'am. You're talking about noise now.
Well, here's the quandary, I guess is the word you get into here is, today we tell Grady that you got to shut the gun range down at 6. We say we could tell him that. We could make something. You got to shut it down all day on Sunday and you got to stop at 4. Next week, my neighbor comes in up here and says, I couldn't sleep today. I worked nights and I couldn't sleep today because Mark Barker's down there on his tractor. And then all of a sudden, not only is Grady can't make a living on his property that he bought and paid for, and y'all know that this is terrible. I know it's terrible, but it is such a slippery slope that we can step onto right here. I don't ever want it to get to where Mark can't make a living. I can't make a living. I don't want it to ever be where somebody walks up onto my property and says, you can't. That's what we're getting into. The issue here is that the noise from the gun range has told y'all that you can't. That's it. You can't relax. You can't have your family over. You can't because of it. And
Pray without it.
we don't, we can't say you can't. But in essence, you've said they can't. And I don't know how to be on both sides of it. I can get on both sides of it. But every time I move, I'm on a different side of it. It's you can't do your business. You can't run your business without affecting their lives. And somehow or another, if we got to, that's why I brought it up the other night. Somehow or another, you got to figure out how you run your business and them still have peace. And at the time, I didn't know that you had already done some things. Whether that's enough or not, it's going to be between y'all and the people that you live with.
Chairman,
Faye, go ahead.
Thank you. I think one of the issues is quality of life issue. I respect that Barbara and Grady have a right to have their business and their gun range, but everybody else have their rights too. I think that you need to start considering some common ground here. Nobody wants government interference. Unfortunately, government is for the people, and it should work for the people, for everyone. And that's what I think this body needs to start looking at are ways that the people that are being affected by this noise can have some peace and quiet in their homes. At the same time, Grady and Barbara can run their business. There has to be some way that the government, that this body can come together and figure out how to work for everyone.
Well, that's why we had this meeting and asked them to come voluntarily, and we would like, this board would like for this to be solved voluntarily. And, you know, you're not gonna please everybody all the time, but you can help to be a good neighbor. And Joyce, I'm gonna let you have the last word. You had your hand up.
Yeah, I just wanted, if I can, just to play a small tape of what we up there listen to 7 days a week. If it's permissible.
Is that all right, y'all? Okay, go ahead.
Everybody else has got in.
And when I go to shoot, I either shoot on my own property or I go to Double Springs over in Rutherford County. Rutherford County has skeet range, shooting ranges. There's even an indoor one in Murfreesboro.
Well, Viola has one.
And Viola has one. Yeah, I've been over there too. And my brothers have been up to Grady's place.
And there's controversy with the one at Big Springs.
Big Springs, that's right. It's been there years. Go ahead, and Jim.
Well, can I just say something, Reverend? What Kevin said, I'm with Kevin. I can fall on both sides of the fence on this. I'm a shooter. I got a gun on me as we speak. And I believe in our right to shoot. I believe in our right to, I believe in their right to have a business on the property. It's not regulated. But as you saw in the video that I had, and what this young lady up here had in that recording, it's terribly noisy, terribly difficult to live with. So we get back around to what Faye Northcutt said, and that is, it's crunch time for you guys. It's probably time for you to consider something to protect my neighbors from this guy shooting right underneath their windows or setting tannerite off, or some way to control the noise. You may not be able to do anything with this business because this business is established, and you're going to run a tough time trying to regulate them at this point. So perhaps what we need to look at going future is, forward in the future, is some type of at least limited planning, limited building, and perhaps unfortunately.
And those things take time and take attorneys and those things. But we have all the boards that I've sat on have always considered doing those things and had it in the, in the opinion that it might come to some limited regulations on some things, no matter what it is, whether it be horn houses or like y'all was talking about, pornographic places or all those things. But most of them are regulated by the state, and we have a limited amount of authority. We have to do what's within our authority, and we will research that. I think some of y'all have already researched what our authority is. Anything else?
Thank you all for listening. I appreciate you just being on the hot seat.
But ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just understand one thing. Once you start impeding on each other's rights, once you open that door,
it never closes.
It never closes. Never closes. The federal government has already showed us that. Okay? So, yes, I agree with y'all. Yes, I agree with Grady. But once you open the door on a person's rights, it can be blowed out to everything.
And
not only a gun range. You could have a neighbor, just like Kevin was talking about, whether he's on his tractor. I work third shift. I got my neighbor over there, he mows his yard 8 o'clock in the morning. That's when I get home lay down. Oh, well. Now, does that mean I can have the right to go over and tell him that he's going to have to cut that thing off until I wake up that afternoon? I wish y'all could get together, the neighbors, the business, and work this out. Because the law is a double-edged sword. It can either hinder your rights or it can trample your rights just as quick as it can trying to protect somebody.
You know, I agree with you, but in the case of my particular neighbor, you know, that's a safety issue, and I think that we already have laws intact.
Darryl,
That's between your neighbor and his neighbors.
Right. This.
I'm gonna let Faye say that one more thing.
Mr. Bush, I
Yes,
can
ma'am.
appreciate so much what you're saying, but there is such a thing as reasonableness.
Well, that's what I'm saying, ma'am.
That's what we're imploring, everybody to be reasonable.
This is what I'm asking this board to start looking at reasonableness, not to impede on anybody's life.
Miss Knox.
That would present a hardship.
I understand.
But when you're talking about rights, this applies to everyone.
Yes.
You know, even these people that are being impacted, they
Yes, ma'am.
have rights. They have rights not to be impacted. So there is such a thing as reasonableness, and that's
All right.
what we need to start looking at.
Now, where you would say one thing is reasonable, okay?
Pardon me?
When you say reasonable,
Yes.
you have your ideal in your mind what reasonable is. Then you get somebody else that wants to overextend their opinion of reason. And once
you all were elected was to come up with a good, reasonable compromise on regulations that the state will allow this county to enact, because there is such a thing as decibel. You could set a decibel level. You could set a parameter level. I don't want to impact farmers. I know you've got to make a living. I know these tractors are noisy. But there is such a thing as reasonable. And you can look at what other rural communities do in regards to this. I'm sure there's a template out there. There is a municipal league that has lots of attorneys that can help you come up with these regulations that can advise you for your charge.
Well, we would like for this. We would like for this to be. We would like for this to be evaluated by the citizens that are right close to it first. And this is the first meeting that we've had both parties present at, and we hope that it can be alleviated somehow, and without us having to just intervene in it. You know, it would be best if if this courthouse was never even filled, it would be best, but we know that's not going to happen. But most times things are better if they're solved, between the parties that are involved and not.
Now you can turn it over to the planning commission and see if they can come up with something with C-tax.
Okay, and we will continue to be looking to see what some other rural counties do.
Things don't get better when government gets involved.
Exactly.
Anybody else that's a citizen want to say anything? Well, yes, ma'am.
I live in the Short Mountain area, and let's say that I'm just a little damn too close to the distillery. When the pictures bounce on the walls, miles away from there, and I live within eyesight of the place and have to leave home because of noise. We all have issues with noise on different levels.
That's right. That's
I
right.
have had to leave home
There's other places that deal with noise of different kinds, just like you in the lawnmower. Yes, sir. One more thing.
I mentioned the federal government. If something's not done at the federal level, they're going to be taking all of our guns away from us. We won't have to be worried about who's shooting and who that.
Okay. All right. That's not necessarily limited to the noise level. You got to understand, The school system is wanting to increase the intensity of the lights on the football field over there. Is everybody aware of that? I live on Lee Avenue, Beaver Dam. When there's a football game on, I can work the crossword puzzle in the paper without turning on my kitchen lights.
That's good. Look at the electricity saving, Jim.
Now, they're wanting to increase that intensity over there. All right. It's not limited to just snow. It's what Jim was trying to say a while ago. Where does it stop?
All right, is there any other business to come before the commission?
Yeah, I do.
All right,
Is this old or new business?
it doesn't matter,
New
yeah,
business?
whichever one you want it to like.
I got some questions. When we had our last meeting, we voted on this ambulance service as far as the low bid. Okay? Is that correct?
Yes,
That was it.
To accept the low bid, that's
That
true.
was it. That's what we were talking about.
And if y'all aren't gonna make us mad, if you ease out, if you don't listen to us about the ambulance, go right ahead, we're not gonna.
Now, the question was from the location. Also, the question was about, about what was gonna pay for it. Now, Mark, you're on the budget committee as well as I am. Okay. Now, as is stated in the CannonCo, okay, County Executive Mike Gannon reminded the commissioners the agenda item was to approve the low bid. Okay? That's what we heard. Now, also it says that as far as the location and everything, it was not voted on. Right?
What the cooler said?
That's
It never was, it wasn't in the minutes that it was voted on. Did y'all vote on it?
We didn't
When they
vote.
approved the buying of the property,
We bought the property for that location.
We bought the property.
Yeah, but as far as that goes, we still have problems with the location. And in that right there,
Well, it says Tony Neal reminded us that the building was approved, the location was approved in December 13th, correct?
No, a purchase of land.
Well, the purpose of the purchase of the land was for the EMS.
And at that time, it was brought up, which I voted against it at that time. There was no consideration about the blind spot coming out of it. Now hold on here. Now, I don't understand your point. You're talking about the sheriff's department coming out of that same road. But between a car easing out there and an ambulance that's got a hot call, we're looking at a liability. Now, even though we took the bid, the low bid, there was not an okay to start building. But we had a groundbreaking last week. Now, how can you have a groundbreaking until you said, yes, we're going to build a building?
Because we bought the property and the bid was to build the building. That's what the bid was for, just to build the building. It wasn't to buy the materials.
What did it say?
The bid said to construct the building, didn't it, Kevin?
To take a low bid on the building.
The construction.
That's it. The bid, to accept the bid.
The bid of the construction.
Why would we accept the bid if we weren't going to build the building?
Now, the second thing
That was
is,
the whole point, accepting the bid.
since we're on the budget committee, okay?
Okay.
And since it was said that the county ambulance service was going to pay for it out of their part, there is nothing in our budget to say in 2014 there's going to be money set aside a certain amount to pay for that rest of that building.
It comes out of the
It ain't there.
They have to pay for it. That's why we set up that special revenue fund.
I understand what you're saying.
It has to come out of their special revenue fund. And if they don't have the money there, they'll default on the loan.
Well, the money ain't there. In the 2014 budget, the money's not there.
The whole purpose of putting it in the special revenues was so that they could manage their money. If they're going to borrow money, they've got to show that the money's there. They got to show that they can pay it back. They won't loan it to them.
Well, I'm just telling you, the money's not there. So if they can't pay it, then
they'll default on the loan.
They'll default on the loan.
But they can pay it.
because we can't take it out of debt service. It can't come out of general fund. The motion was made and voted on. It was unanimous for it to come out of special revenue fund.
Right. All right, Mike, Gannon wants to make a comment about all that.
February 12, 2013, item 9 on the agenda, resolution to approve the CDBG grant application. Kevin Moonhill made the motion, Jimmy Mingle second, there was 8 present, 2 absent. All 8 present voted for it, including Mr. Bush. That was...
Exactly.
All right.
That was on the premise that the hospital was going to donate an acre of land from their property to build this building.
It says...
That's what you said that day, that the land was going to be donated. That was why I voted at that time. Come to find out, the hospital's up for sale now, and they're not going to give up nothing.
It says here, whereas County has agreed to pay the matching funds of $265,000 for the funds from the ambulance service fund. That was in the resolution. Then later, I forget the date, I don't have those minutes with me, but later I came to you, the hospital had said they would try to give the land, and the board wouldn't agree to it, but they did agree to sell it at what our property assessor had it appraised at, which was $8,500. It was clear to everybody that the 1 acre of land was to build an ambulance center on, and it passed the commission to buy it for $8,500 to buy it. So everything's been done. The only thing you had to do the last meeting was accept the low bid.
Low bid.
Was about $100,000.
Well, that's more than that.
Than the next bid, which was a company out of Tullahoma. I don't understand what the question is.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Here's
The,
if you want to see this.
The bid that we accepted
That's the one we
was
voted on last
constructing
February.
the building on the land that we had bought from the hospital. And $8,500 for that acre is a good deal.
You know, and again, and what I'm saying, you know, when we voted on this, as far as the low bid and everything, it was stated that, you know, the location was still up in the air. You know, there was still discussion about where it needed to be in. Mr. Jones, am I right with that?
Yes, sir.
So, and all of a sudden, after all that, then we have a groundbreaking. There wasn't no more discussion about it. So, I'm just asking a question.
Why shouldn't? Why? They've got the money and they've got the land.
And they got the bid, they got the low bid approved. Go ahead with it.
I mean, when are they supposed to start building on it?
When are they supposed to start?
No, I'm asking, I mean, if you wasn't supposed to build, they're breaking ground the other day, when were you supposed to be?
They'll be starting the other day. I mean,
when
as soon as we have a pre-construction conference, they'll start.
And on December the 2nd and everything like that, it's number 8, it says, request commission approval to purchase land for new ambulance center. And it was 1 acre up to $8,500.
That was a meeting where you were trying to get us to pay for it, but wouldn't tell us how much it was gonna be.
Right.
And it was discussed about the traffic, about the blind spot.
Everything has been discussed openly on every step
I
of the way.
understand that too, but when we had our last meeting, it was stated that we were still going to discuss it.
Discussing it.
So we don't discuss it.
Well, no, they started discussing a light over there to be turned on when the ambulance was coming. That's part of
Well,
the
they said they
discussion.
didn't know because they didn't know if he could afford it or not.
And that's a traffic
Now, am I-
issue for the city of Woodbury.
Excuse me?
That's a traffic issue
No,
for
it
the
was.
city of Woodbury.
So now we're going to throw it on Woodbury.
No, I'm just saying if there needs to be a light
Hey.
there, that the city of Woodbury should be involved in the.
I would imagine it'd be uncommonly important to the guy in the passenger side of that ambulance cab.
Oh, is that yours?
We'll be able to build it easily across that intersection.
That's right. The ambulance is going to have to pull out somewhere.
There's never been an
Is there any other business come before the commission?
We have some old business.
All right.
Need to be brought up from last month.
Okay, go ahead and bring it up.
We have where Milligan?
Near Milliken and Rambo Road, yes.
Yes. Anyway, we were supposed to have some discussion on that. I think it was brought up that it was supposed to, we're supposed to send it to the 911 board or whatever. And according to my understanding is the 911 board said it has to be approved by the commission before it can go to the 911 board and be approved. So, like I say, he's here this morning, and I would like to know what the commission is going to do about it. I do know it's in Jim and Kevin's district out there.
Why does the commission need to do anything about it? Why does the commission need to do anything about it?
Because it was brought up to us. It was brought up to us to see why are we going to do.
Here's the thing about that road. I'll just go right ahead if it's all right with Mark. That road that we're talking about is Powell Road. That road was Powell's on both sides. Always has been. I've talked to people that are older than Mark down here. They can't think of nobody that's ever owned it until 5 acres of it was sold to him. And then he wants to change the whole road to Rambo Road, which I don't know where Rambo comes from, but that's irrelevant. His issue with this is that there are 3 Powell roads. There is only one Powell Road. There's an Old L. Powell Road, and I think a Charlie Powell Road, and a Powell Road. If the ambulance goes to the wrong road, is that the road name issue, or is that a dispatch and an ambulance driver's issue? That's a 911 issue. It has nothing to do with the name of that road. If they went to the wrong house, then it's because they were either sent to the wrong house, or they couldn't follow directions and went to the wrong house. So we discussed this before. We went through this, I think 2 years ago. We went through this on this road. Everybody in my district knows where Powell Road is. And they know where it's at because who lived there and who owned it. And not any of them will ever understand it to be Rambo Road. So, and I'm talking to you because you brought this up. We've already been through this once, and we voted to leave it the same, or didn't get a motion.
Didn't get a motion.
Didn't get a motion, and I ain't for changing it now.
Well, did you go to 911? What'd they say about it?
911 says that it is still Powell Road,
Do they have a problem with that?
Did they have a problem with it?
No.
Wouldn't they be up here talking to us if they did?
Where the problem arises, on the 2012 map that's been handed out to the citizens of the county and elsewhere, it has the same road, which we know is Powell Road. They have it listed as Rambo Road.
Sir, that is not county.
It's an advertisement.
That's advertising. It hasn't got nothing
That's
to do
the
with
reason
county.
I did, saw it, when I saw it, I called the 911 and asked them to look it up. Do they have a Rambo Road listed? They assured me that they did not. I said, well, I have a map, 2012, showing that it is listed on the 2012 handout map. That is not the official map of Cannon County, I understand that, and I think everyone else does too. And because you look at all the advertising around it. But, you know, when the person that is asked to bring this up, when he has the 2012 map in his hand and says, well, here it's showing it's Rambo Road, 911 says, no, it isn't. So, you know, when you're asked to do something as a commissioner, I'm going to do my best to do it.
That's fine.
And I'm glad you did.
And that's what I've done. I brought it before the commission.
As long as 911 don't have an issue with it, and I'm going along with Kevin on this, there's never been, other than the issue of what he was talking about, either the driver or the dispatcher got something all out of control. But now, as far as the county map is concerned, that's what we go by, is a county map. authorized county mail.
Oh, we've got Mrs.
Where do
Powell.
you get them at?
We got one of the Powell family here, and until the 911 board has not sent us any recommendation to change it, neither one of the commissioners in that district are going to recommend to change it, so I think it'll just have to stay the way it is.
My grandfather moved here in 1900 from Sycamore. It's been that road for 114 years. Why do you want to change it to Rambo Road?
Well, you got to talk last week.
One Powell Road.
There's 3 Powell.
One Powell
Mr.
Road.
Rambo,
You got Odell
you got to
Powell.
talk
You got
last
Charlie
time.
Powell.
Let her
And
speak.
You got Powell. How do you get
Let
split
her
up?
speak. You got to talk last time. Let her speak. She pays her taxes just like you do.
Do I need to change it to New Powell Road? Would that make it better?
No.
There's no issue.
There's no issue.
There is an issue
No.
with them.
No.
But there's a big difference between Charlie Powell Road and Powell Road.
Like we said.
How could they get it mixed up?
They
You got
not. They
Odell Powell,
haven't.
you got Charlie's Powell, and you got plain old Powell. So if they can't understand that, they don't need to be behind the ambulance wheels.
Is there any other business needs to come before the commission?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
We came along and asked Mr. Bobby Mingle to show up today. Come back from last month's meeting where trying to finishing his drive on out, making it a lane and becoming county property for the county to take care of. He did prior to the decease of Jackie Haley down here. And Mr. Mingle is here today, and I don't know if we still have the,
No one from the highway department is still here, but I see.
I thought we asked Mr. Hancock to make go and check it out and come back today and make a report to us, but
I thought we did too.
That's what we're asking.
so, somewhere along the line, things are breaking down. Mr. Mingle is spending his time to be back up here today, and he's done showed us and told us in the past that this has been done exactly what I was asking to do.
Go commissioners.
All of them. Plus, tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna send a letter to all the highway commissioners, besides Mr. Hancock, request them all to be here at our next meeting, and we'll discuss it. Can you get that letter sent?
The next regular meeting, right?
Next regular meeting.
Which will be in August,
Second week in August.
second Tuesday in August.
But gentlemen, we've been putting Mr. Mingle off for such a long time.
We hadn't either.
We haven't.
He's only been to one meeting. We haven't been putting him on.
The next meeting.
They were supposed to be here today. They were supposed to be here today. It wasn't, we hadn't done it.
Make it September.
September the 9th.
Okay.
Is that my last meeting?
No, first meeting of the next bunch.
Right.
Or do you want, no, let's just.
Well, I mean,
let's do it
unless
in August. Let's just
do it in
We'll do it in August.
All right, because we know we'll all be here.
I was here when that started. I need to be here when that
That'll be
finishes.
August 12th, right?
Is it gonna be on a Tuesday?
Yeah, that's right.
August 12th.
Now, do I need to send
Mr.
them a
Mingle,
letter?
You need to send.
Can you be back here on August the 12th?
Yes.
At 5 o'clock in the afternoon?
I'll be here anytime y'all need me.
5 o'clock, August the 12th. Do you know whether anybody's come and looked at it or not?
I do not.
Okay.
I've done a little bit of investigation. I know of Morgan Avenue here in Cannon County, which was creek gravel, and they turned it into Blue Rock Road, hard and chip. Bump House Road, they done the same thing. Buttercup Ridge, they rocked a log road out across top of the ridge to one home. And spent, hadn't been tons of money to rock, I guess it's a mile and a half back there to that one home. Or rock, I'm talking about through a pink path.
And it's private property because they put a gate up where you couldn't get back there to it.
That's what they were trying to keep down.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that, Buttercup Ridge?
Looked like you turned it into
Looked
a
like
county road when the county rocked it for them.
left, this is going to the right.
You talking about going left at the top of it?
Yeah, I was talking about going to the left.
To the right.
And the gate's not
It goes all the way around to the right.
Go to the right, like you're going out on Big Hill Road. Not that way.
Well, the highway commission needs to address these things.
Exactly.
Okay, and we'll have them here at the next meeting.
We'll have all the commissioners here, plus Mr. Hancock.
Okay.
Mr. Mingle, I apologize to you for having you up here today, knowing that, or thinking things should be going the way they should be, and they don't always happen that way.
It's government.
What was that third road, Morgan, you say? The first one you mentioned?
The first Morgan Avenue.
It's right outside of town. Going up Highway 53.
Pump House Road, Buttercup Ridge, Ashford Hollow Road over to Gasaway. That was just a creek gravel road that they had up there for many years and turned it into I guess a county road, because the county comes over and takes care of it every time it.
A lot of those roads were county roads, and they have been grandfathered in before they passed the law in probably 99
Yeah, but this
or
ain't
2000.
that long ago they done.
Yeah.
They upgraded them.
Yeah.
And if they're already on the map.
The
and they
planning
upgrade them,
commission
that's up to
passed
them.
regulations that had to be so wide, had to be tar and chipped, and before they even take it, it had to be tar and chipped, and had to have drain tiles in it. And so far as I know right now, they have helped that
Just
to
like
it.
I done for the county when they asked me to.
That's-
Put 3 tiles in, have it ditched all the way out, and then crusher run put on it.
If he's doing
We'll try to have them here
Address it next month.
next time. That's right, August the 12th. Now, back to the commissioners. We're going to have a budget committee meeting Monday night with the school board. This coming Monday, the 14th at 5 o'clock. 14th at 5 o'clock. And then sometime before the end of the month, probably on the next, or 2 weeks, the 20, and that's the 28th, it's going to have it on a Monday night also. We're going to have a special call meeting just to consider budget. 28th of Monday?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's double that night, 28.
Yeah, 28th of Monday. But you will receive your letter about the special call meeting. Budget is on Monday night. Is there any other business?
Yes, Mr.
Chuck.
Chairman, there was something on last month's meeting that we said that was going to be tabled until this month. And that is where money did not get moved from Homeland Security, line item 47235 of $8,272. But I do have show where it was probably under EMA. I could show where on the 30th day of May, it was actually
It was
spent
for the right thing, right?
It was bought for a thermal imager, and to be $8,272 for a thermal imager, right to the exact penny and everything that we're showing. I myself, I would like to see that piece of equipment that belongs to the county, and that way, if you can see it and get the numbers off of it, and call other companies and find out, is that exactly the cost? Because being on volunteer services myself, that sounds like a extremely high dollar to be paid. But what we're going to have to do, because it has already been paid, we do need to make a motion and vote on moving this 8272 back up to line item probably 790 or whatever.
That's what the original budget amendment was to do, right? But we didn't have enough information about it. Do you remember that one?
Right.
Chuck is researching. It was bought a thermal imager.
This is right here. This is one that we did not.
What does a thing like that do?
He said table
Walk up to the house
the
and find
next
a hot
meeting
spot
Right, it was $8,000.
That or a body, it'll find a body in the house.
It wasn't looking here.
Now, our next meeting though was the June, the 30th meeting where we went through, was, are you sure?
You could cover it on a special meeting, because that was not brought up.
The ones with all the budget amendments were on there, was this one?
In that case, it's picking up cooler objects.
Okay.
Because we said we're gonna bring this up on the July meeting.
Do you wanna be sure we bring it up the next time?
Well, the money's already spent. Because you asked Mr. Tim Bell, did he know anything at all about this?
You know,
He stood up, he didn't have a clue.
You don't have to open it.
Yeah, the problem with that thing
And
there,
yes, I'm having somewhat,
fire department whenever they see it.
some problems with it.
That's the CMA crap.
I know where it's been spent, I know what it's been spent for, what's been involved. Yeah. I know what it's put in, see what the PO number is, anything you wanna know about it.
Use it for the fire department, you'll never see it.
That's something got to be done about that.
Okay.
Good luck.
I've got that done for our next meeting
As
too.
long as Mike, you know, got it.
Make a motion with adjourn.
Do I have a second? Adjourn.